Great. So welcome everyone to our monthly HeartPowered Speaking community call. And as you know, I don't know, if you've been with us before, but for everyone that's the first time today, everyone that doesn't know me yet very well, I'm the founder of HeartPowered Business, and our mantra is speak up, scale up, impact the world. And we've helped hundreds of clients really from more than 50 countries already go professional with their speaking and double, triple, even quadruple their income with our Voice to Millions framework. And I've myself been a paid speaker for more than 20 years, and I've been on stages in more than 25 countries on 5 continents. And if you want to step up with your speaking and boost your visibility in 2023, well, then again, you're in the right place with us in our HeartPowered Global Nation and HeartPowered Speaking community. Well, but this session really today is not about me at all. It's all about you and about our precious guest that will inspire you to really get practical hints and tips that you can apply right away in your business. You can ask your own personal question on how to make your speaking and your business flourish even further. And you can also exchange with other professional speakers. And also, if you have a high priority project right now, you can share that with us at the end of our session. Or maybe just simply take a break and have fun with us. Well, we always like to make it interactive, so please ask your questions anytime, and also our guests will make time for answering questions. And also, as always, technically, just mute yourself so we have a sparkling recording, because as you all know, we will share our recording in the Hall of Fame. And today we're going to talk about mobile apps and how they help your speaking and your business to get to a different level. And I don't know if you knew that mobile apps are the most engaging tool in the world, and still 98% of new and professional speakers are not having an app that they actively use in their talks to capture, engage, and serve their audience beyond the talk. Well, we have a very special guest today with us. He's the co-founder of Actionera, and he has more than 20 years of digital marketing experience under his belt. He really is an expert at helping speakers, authors, and entrepreneurs like all of us move into and really leverage the world that exists on people's phones, like mobile apps, right? And we're all playing with them every day. Why not having your app out there? And if you've wondered what it takes, or you believe like it, a lot of us think like it takes so much time and energy, and that's not the case. You learn a different way of doing it today. And if you really wondered what it takes and whether it makes sense for you to even have your own mobile app, well, you will know, and you'll be crystal clear after this session today. You'll also correctly understand why apps are a must-have marketing and engagement tool for all speakers, really. And what's most important to know about this powerful platform, so you don't waste your time or your money or your energy or your efforts launching an app that doesn't work for you. We want to make it work for you. And we have today a very special expert with us, Robert, as I said, Robert Evans. He is the co-founder of Actionera and a 20+ year digital marketing entrepreneur. And over the past 20 years, right, the companies Robert created have shipped over 1 million products, built communities exceeding 130,000 people from around the world, generated millions of dollars, impacted tens of thousands of people, and trained everyday people to really step into their role as a messenger, to really create the greatest ripple effect and impact they can in the world through their passion and their work and their business. And today, through Actionera, Robert is really designing technologies to help experts, authors, and speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs like us build bigger lists, engage with more people, and make more money than ever before. So I think that is a big, big promise. Robert, it's amazing to have you with us today. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Monique. I appreciate that. I feel like we've done a good job already. Thank you. Appreciate it, Monique. Kelly, it's good to have you here. And for anybody that's watching the recording, or anybody that's watching the recording, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us here. So yeah, let's get started, because I got a lot to share with everybody. And really want to make this as interactive as possible. So Kelly, since you're here right now, please ask questions It's almost like we have a one-on-one right now, so feel free to jump in here and really bring your business into the mix so that I can support you directly here, and we'll also give other people the opportunity to do that too. Because at the end of this talk, I've got some pretty amazing gifts to give this community to take and implement and leverage this world that I'm going to be talking about here. So, Monique was saying that, I've been in the digital marketing world for the last 20 years. In fact, just to give you some context of that, it's 22 years now. It's kind of funny because the context of that is the very first digital marketing product that I offered or sold had to do with Y2K. You remember Y2K, the end of the world as we know it, when the clock was changing in the year 2000. I actually had a software program that helped fix, personal computers for that. So that, just to give context how long I've been around, I was around back in the day when the world was going to blow up after the clocks changed. So, and of course that didn't happen. So I moved on and did a lot of other things. So really my journey over the last 20 years has a significant amount to do with where I'm at today, because 6 years ago, when I started to explore these devices that we hold in our hand, that's my iPhone there, these smartphones that are a dominant part of our lives. When I started to explore this as a place in which I could put my business and my message, and discovered that how powerful this platform could be. I actually did not set out to start a mobile app business. No, it was definitely not the case. I kind of landed in it. In fact, prior to really getting into the mobile app side of things and helping experts and messengers, as I like to call everybody, helping messengers get their message out into the world using this particular platform, I had actually been traveling around the world with groups of entrepreneurs, taking them to different places like Africa and Ecuador and Costa Rica and New Zealand and different places in the United States, giving them transformational experiences and putting together live international events and giving people opportunity to speak on stages in countries and in places that wouldn't normally have their messages presented to them. So that's kind of what I was doing. So and in the process of me doing that, I kind of developed a personal message, I had this personal transformation of inspiring myself and doing certain things to live my bucket list. So 6 years ago, before I started doing this business with mobile apps, I was actually setting out to help other people, what I call live their list, and live an extraordinary life by creating a lifestyle in their life that revolved around their bucket list, or as I like to call it, their life list. And it was that particular message that put me on the path to explore other ways, more effective ways of getting this message out into people's lives and impacting people's lives. So being in this digital marketing world for 20 years, I was around at the time when there wasn't social media, there wasn't Zoom, there really wasn't even, early on, there wasn't any kind of video conferencing unless you were a corporation and had lots of money to throw at it. We were doing, I don't know if anybody can relate here, we were doing our events on freeconferencecalling.com, getting on those conference calls and talking to people. And it was back in the day when you could build an email list and send emails and actually get really, really good engagement. Meaning that you could send emails and you would have actually a high number of people opening those emails and a pretty good number of people clicking on those emails, engaging in your messages and your world and the things that you're doing. And so, but fast forward to many years later, that as more and more people started doing that, and as digital marketing started to become a predominant thing in businesses and in creating total complete businesses around digital marketing, that all those things started to become less effective. So 6 years ago, I kind of fell into the app world out of just pure frustration with how most of the marketing was done. I was frustrated with the fact that email marketing had become far less effective, and that less people were opening emails and less people were opting into my list, and it would, it would take me a lot longer to build a community and get them to really engage in things. It was frustrating for me to have 10, 20,000 people on my email list and to send an email and only have 50 people out of tens of thousands of people or thousands of people actually click to go do something. It just didn't seem logical to me anymore. So so I was frustrated with that. And I also really never really bought into the social media game. And the social media landscape had also changed too, because I don't know if you guys remember early on in the Facebook world, you could build a pretty big group of people and post things, and that group of people would see what you're posting and actually do really well. And then Facebook figured out how to monetize that and basically started, you had to basically pay to get this exposure to this group that you built. So all of that kind of led to this moment where I was like, I want to share this live your list message with people, but I don't want to spin my wheels and I don't want to do something that isn't effective. Or I didn't want to do social media. I didn't want to build a big list and then not get good results and all this other stuff. So it was kind of that frustration led me to this moment where I literally pulled out my smartphone and I opened up my notes app. That's something I use a lot on my phone. And I asked myself two questions, because one thing I discovered in personal development and in business is this truth: questions are the answer. So I knew that if I asked the right questions, the right answers would come for me to figure some stuff out. So I asked myself a total of 4 questions. Start off with these 2 questions. Question number 1, where are people spending their time? Because I wanted to go to where that was at and not expect them to come to me or force them to come to me through some mechanism that doesn't really work that well anymore. I needed to go to them. So where were they spending their time? And then the second question is, where are people engaging the most in content, in messages? Where's that happening? And so I started off with those 2 questions. And whenever you're asking questions about my approach is, whenever I'm asking questions about certain things like that, I always kind of turn it around on myself, and I followed up with 2 other questions. Where am I spending my time, and where am I engaging the most? Ironically, I'm sitting here typing that on my smartphone, and it was in that moment that I realized, oh, well, maybe it's this device that I'm holding in my hand right now, and that I tend to have with me everywhere that I go, and that I most likely spend an obscene amount of time on doing stuff on. So I'm like, well, I've never really thought about my business being on a phone for people to be able to access. And so I got curious about smartphones and apps, because obviously if I'm going to be on people's phones, the only way that I'm really going to do that, at least have a presence there, is to have my own app. So I got curious about apps and I started researching apps, and this is when I started to really discover that it wasn't something that was coming, it was already there, meaning that it wasn't the potential of what is the potential of what smartphones and apps could be. It was already existing, but our industry, the place that I played, the sandbox that I played in all the time, really wasn't really doing much in this space of apps and smartphones and that sort of thing. But every other big business in the world was throwing everything at that. So that was also another sign there. And so when I did the research, I found some very, very interesting stats that really kind of changed my life and the trajectory of where I was going to take my messages and my businesses and that sort of thing. And here are some of the stats. Now, 6 years ago, so this is some of the stats 6 years ago, but it's obviously changed because it's been 6 years, and it's only increased in in effectiveness. But 6 years ago, I discovered there were 6 billion smartphone users in the world. 6 billion smartphone users. Today, there's over 7 billion smartphone users. That's 80, I believe it's 86% of the world population. And I'm like, does that track? I mean, because that seems kind of crazy. And then I remembered one of the trips that I took to Liberia, Africa, where we would go out to the outer villages and outer towns of Liberia to bring these water filtration systems to communities that desperately needed clean water. And we go into the town center, and there would be a room in which there'd be 2 or 3 computers in there that people would access the online world through a computer. And then we would go out to the villages where there's literally no power, and there's definitely no computers, but we would have almost everybody in that town or that village coming up to us asking for our Facebook profile with their Android phone. So it kind of clicked. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's true, because in Liberia, Africa, there's practically 0 computers, but everybody was holding a smartphone, which meant that if my message was on a phone in an app, I could teach and reach people in places like Liberia, Africa, out in the bush, and transform their lives with my message. And that got me really excited and inspired. So today there are 7 billion smartphone users in the world. And just to give you some context and comparison of computers, there's only about 4 billion computers that are sitting on people's desks. So what the reality is that smartphones and mobile apps as a communication tool of messages is the fastest growing technology in the history of technology. Nothing has ever come close to how fast this blew up and how much this has become a part of people's lives. In fact, the average person spends about 4 to 5 hours a day interacting on their phone, and the average person picks up and puts down and picks up their phone an average of 58 times a day. So, and if you're curious, I don't know if I do that. I mean, there's actually apps on most phones that will track that. And I'm like, oh, maybe I don't do that, but I actually do, a lot more than that. So that's a bit scary too. But that just shows that this is a place that people are actually using. And then I got curious. I'm like, okay, well, I could always have a website that people can access on their phone. They call mobile optimized websites, which most websites today are mobile optimized, meaning that if I went to a www address on my phone browser, I could pull up and pretty much access a world there. But the truth is the next stat that was kind of mind-blowing is 90% of the time that people are spending on their phone, that 4 to 5 hours a day, is spent inside of apps, not on mobile optimized websites. They don't like going to websites. They prefer to tap an icon on their phone, open it up, and have that experience there. So that wasn't the solution. Mobile websites were not the solution. So when I started to look at that, I'm like, okay, I think I probably really need to look at this as a platform for me to reach people. And then so I dove a little bit deeper. And the biggest thing that convinced me to start jumping into the app space, which I immediately started to explore and get price quotes on and all that sort of thing, to build an app that really did all the things that I wanted to do, was when I compared the mechanism in which mobile apps on smartphones are able to communicate with people compared to what we typically do as experts online, which is email marketing or other types of typical marketing through social media. So I compared the communication way on a phone, which with an app, which is what's called push notifications, to email marketing. Because I've always been a great email marketer. In fact, I've made millions of dollars with my email list in my different companies over the years. And that was always my golden goose. But that had changed so dramatically, and the engagement had become so less, that I'm like, okay, well, what about apps? And how do apps communicate? Do I have to still do email? And yes, I still do email, but there's a better way of actually communicating through apps, and that's through push notifications. So to give you some context here, I'm going to share my screen here. of what really got me blown away in the difference. Let me pull that up right now. There we go. And we'll start from right here. Okay, cool. There you go. So the way you compare this is you compare it like anything else. The first thing you have to do is you have to get someone on your list, your email list or your push list. So, obviously, if you're going to communicate with them, they got to be on your list. And that's what we call people opting into your list. The second thing is that when you send out an email or send out a push notification, people have to see or open that email or that push notification. That's what we call the open rate. And then the last thing, the most important thing, is that you want engagement. And engagement is when they click or they tap on that notification and it takes them to the place that you want them to go. That video, that event registration page, that strategy session, schedule page, whatever it is that will get them into your world to ultimately, become a client of yours or to be transformed through the message that you have. So let's look at those three things: the opt-in rate, the open rate, and the click rate, and how they compare here. So email marketing versus push notification marketing. The average opt-in rate for email marketing, that meaning people landing on your website, seeing a way for them to join your list, like get my free ebook or join my newsletter or whatever. The average in the education training market is 5%. So 5 out of 100 people that visit your website or your webpage will join your list. Now, the way it works with apps is that when someone downloads your app, so let's say downloading your app is like visiting your website. When they download your app and they open it the very first time, they're given an opportunity to opt into your push list. In some cases, Android phones is automatic, but in iPhone, they always ask the question, do you want to receive notifications from this person? This is what we see consistently. We see 55 to 80% of people will opt into your push notification list. I have a little typo in there, and this should say 55. So that means 55 out of 80 of 55 to 80 out of 100 that download your app will actually join your push notification list. Now, over the last 6 years, with our clients that are leveraging our app platform, we're seeing 70 to 80%. We rarely get down into the 50s or 60%, 70 to 80%. So what does this mean? It means that my list building game completely changes. And here's what's really interesting about this is that I do not need their name and their email address in order for them to be on my push list. Whereas over here, I'm asking for their name and their email address. And that's what people are like, I don't really want to do that anymore. But over here, all they're doing is saying, yes, I'll receive notifications, because their phone becomes their identifier as opposed to their name and their email address over on this side of things. So, okay, I'm now very excited. I can actually build another type of list, and I can build it a lot faster. Now, what does that ultimately translate to in open and click rates? Because that's the name of the game is engagement. So let's look at that. With open rates, when you send out an email in the education training market, the average open rate is 23%. Okay. Now, the problem is, for the reason why that open rate is so low is that people are getting tons of emails. They're seeing long emails that are coming in. They just don't have the time for it. We live in a world of TikTok, people, in which 30-second videos are the predominant thing. So we got to start keeping things short and sweet. And that's what push notification does. So when you send out a push notification, you get a 90% open rate. What does that mean? It means they see the notification, and once they see it within seconds, they will have gotten everything that they need to decide to tap that notification. Why? Because a push notification is a quick call to action. It's a quick message, quick call to action. And so 90% open rate for push notification marketing. And so now ultimately we get to the end thing here, which is click. How many people are actually going to click on that email? Well, the average for email is 3 to 5% click rate. for push notification is 25 to 40% click rate. And they'll usually do that within the first hour. So if our goal is engagement, and we won't even do apples to apple, let's do a 10,000 person email list and a 1,000 person push list. Using those numbers that I just shared with you, 115 people will engage with an email list and 225 people will engage with the push list at 25% click rate. And that's 10% of the size of the list. But if we took it and said apples to apples, let's say both lists are 10,000 and both is a 5% click, not a 25% click, because the open rate is so much larger, you will see a 300% better engagement. So with push notification, you will see 300 to 1,000% better engagement than you will with email marketing. Now, as an email marketer, I'm like, oh my God, I can't deny that. And so once I saw that last stat, and once I realized that this is already happening, that this is not a technology that's coming or a trend that's coming, it's already here. I said, I have to have an app. So I sat down, I took all these years of marketing and I architected out what I wanted my app to do. I wanted to share content. I wanted to be a membership technology. I wanted to be able to build and deliver e-courses. I wanted to do virtual summits and virtual events. I wanted to do viral marketing and all this other stuff. So I made a list and I said, I wanted to do all this, and I architected it out and I sent it off to about 5 app developers that I just did some research on the internet, found them and said, can you give me a quote on this? And I got 3 quotes back, and the average quote to build the app that I wanted was $100,000. The high end was $130,000, and it was going to take a minimum of 6 months to build. So I don't know about you guys, but I didn't have an extra 100 grand just sitting around, and I certainly wasn't going to walk away from this thing that I got excited about, this powerful platform that could change my business. So that's what set me down the path to create a business, not only that would solve this cost and this quality app issue that our industry faces around launching their own mobile apps, to solve that issue for myself, but for other people, because I'd always been in the business of serving other experts and other messengers. And I said, yeah, this makes sense. It's the evolution of my business to be able to introduce and bring apps into our world here. Okay. So luckily for me, the path was to convince my brother, Mark, who, by the way, was an app developer, but he was a highly paid app developer for a corporation that he worked for in San Francisco. However, he was very unhappy in his job, so I exploited that. I mean, that's what we do, right? Exploit our family's pain. I'm just joking about that. But I went to him, I said, hey, I have this idea. I want to build this platform. Is it possible for us to do it and be able to replicate that process quickly and easily and inexpensively for other people? And if I gave you the plan, would you build it for me? And he says, sure, I think we can do that. And he did that. And then he realized, I don't want to work in my job anymore. So he started a business with me 6 years ago. And that business was called App Bros Design. App Bros, obviously, because we're brothers. And we built the very first a platform in our world called the Expert app. And it was, even 6 years ago, extraordinary in its capabilities of really delivering on these things that we wanted to do. And since then, we have updated that platform 16 times. We are on what we call our 8.5 version of the app. And we have partnered up with another big person in our industry. His name is Iman Agai, to launch Action Era. And Action Era is ultimately bridging together this app technology platform with a web platform in order to be able to provide to experts a way of launching their own app without it costing them an insane amount of money. So that's my journey, and I felt like it was important for me to share that with you, because those things that got me excited should get you excited, honestly, about the potential and the reality around apps. Apps and smartphones is the most powerful platform in the world for us to leverage to accomplish three goals. Goal number one, to build a bigger community faster. Okay. Community of people that are in your world, interact in your world more consistently, to build a list and to do it a lot faster. So that's the first goal that apps are able to obtain. Second goal is to get people regularly engaged in your world. Because what the reality is in most social media, email marketing, and other spaces is that someone will come in and they'll just be in there briefly, or they'll be in there and they'll just sit static and not do anything more. Where an app, you have the ability to be able to put things in front of them very easily and quickly without it being interruptive to their day, and inspire them. And the more you inspire them, the more you get them in your world consistently, the likelihood of them becoming a client and wanting to go on bigger journeys with you, coaching, events, programs, or whatever, courses or whatever, it increases dramatically. And that then leads to the third goal, which is all of that means more money for us. It means that we can make more money. We can sell more programs. We can get, we can take people on one journey that leads to the next journey, that leads to the next journey, and create that real, true financial funnel in our business to really achieve our goals. So apps, that's what apps do. And that's the way we built our platform, is to focus on achieving those three goals. So anyway, that's the story. And I got some more to share with you here, but I want to make sure, see if there's any questions. Hey, Miles, good to see you, bud. Thanks for joining us. Kelly, did you have any questions, or Miles, did you have any questions about anything so far?
So I just got on the tail end of the conversation, so I'll let you keep going. I'll catch up.
Cool. Well, hopefully you'll get a chance to check out the recording. Yeah. So Kelly, do you have any questions?
Well, what I find really interesting, part of my work for a really long time was in international development, international cooperation. And one of the most amazing things coming out of Africa in 2009 was a system called M-Pesa, which you probably know about. And it was mobile payments on your phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was absolutely extraordinary. And it turned into not just that, but people being able to vote, people being able to register for job interviews. The telephone companies made sure that one elder in each village had the mobile phone. And it made so much sense. It was like a leapfrog a leapfrog ahead in terms of infrastructure and systems, because Kenya said to development partners, we're going to turn down the money that you want to give us to build a telephone communication system like what you have in Europe, or like what you have in North America, because posts with lines doesn't make any sense. We have to go mobile now. That's what we're going to, and therefore then we're going to create this system. And I watched it, I was kind of part of it, in and out on things, and it was absolutely fascinating. So I've enjoyed listening to you take that piece and then turn it into the statistics that you've given around, 7 billion smartphone users and only 4 billion computer users or laptop users. And it just makes such sense that this is really how we engage with people, and the message can be far more powerful. So I just really liked that.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's very exciting. And then once you have awareness of that, you start seeing that more and more and more kind of show up. And it's just like the universe saying, okay, how many more times do we need to send that boat to for you and your business to be rescued here? So yeah, that's cool. And
right. Sorry, can I just say something before we move on? Anybody thought about deconstructing that idea about the analog digital partnership? Because I've
say that again.
Deconstructed the idea where you got analog and digital. Anybody thought about that? Because I've gone the other way. I've turned what you'd have as digital into an analog.
Oh,
into networks, into actual people networks.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's not something I've actually put much thought into. I mean, we have such, the world is changing as far as our reach to people. I mean, if you think about, internet now is now gone into space, with Elon Musk, the satellite internets that they do. I mean, that's just, everything is just shifted so much. I mean, we're also playing in a very different world. Excuse me, second. We're also playing in a very different world around the AI technologies. I mean, I'm sure you guys have now heard a lot about, ChatGPT and AI technologies, and depending on who you're hearing it from, it's either the end of the world or it's the greatest thing ever, right? But it's yeah, the technology and the way we're going and the way things are shifting is uh, is very impressive. Now, for us as entrepreneurs, as experts, how do we leverage that? And that's what we're setting out to do with mobile apps, is to give you the path to use this platform to be able to accomplish that. So
My field has been an analog version of networks. So it's in-person networks using studios.
mm-hmm.
So instead of having we have a digital, just virtual like this, you're in person. So thinking it the same way as you do digital, but you're in analog mode. So you can have your likes and subscribes, but while you're using your digital phone, but you're in person experiencing the event.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's a great point, because I feel like apps do that. So I know that this is a speaker community, and when it comes to as a speaker leveraging an app in the analog world, as you were saying, Miles, it's actually a brilliant tool to use. So let me give you an example. I'm definitely back out into the world now, speaking on live stages and doing live masterminds and that sort of thing. And I'm really grateful for that, even though I just recently got COVID after doing that. So, but I'm still very grateful, because I like that analog experience. I like that experience of being in people's space. But if anything, I mean, if the thing that COVID changed is it changed also the understanding that we can combine those two worlds and be even more effective. And then we can combine the world of digital smartphones and apps with that analog, being in person, connecting and sharing, and be even more effective. So as a speaker on stage, on live stages, or as a networker at an event, I use my app as a way to get people to be plugged into my world. So here's a great example. Remember that once someone downloads my app, 70 to 80% of them just automatically, just the stats, will say yes to push notifications. And that means they've been added to my list. So if I'm in a room speaking to 100 people, live, 100 people, 100 bodies in the room, and I tell everybody, hey, everybody, go to my website, when you get home or on your phone, and download my, opt in and download my free ebook or my video series. I will get pretty much the same numbers as I get when they land on my website, like 5%. 5 out of 100 people in that room will do that. Now, if I approach it differently with my app and I say, hey, everybody, I've got a gift that I'm going to give you at the end of my talk. So while I'm doing my talk, pull out your phone right now and scan this QR code. And I throw up a QR code onto the screen, and download my app, because I'm going to give you a valuable gift at the end, right? So I do it at the beginning. So I do it as that's my anticipation what they're going to get, and at the end I give them another opportunity to download my app. What happens, and this is what I see consistently, is over half of the room will actually do that. So I'll get 50 or more people downloading my app, and then at the end I say, okay, open my app if you have, and if you haven't downloaded, here's the QR code again, and I want you to input this code, this special code that's only available to you in this audience, this code in my app, and I tell them where to do that, and it will unlock a 3-part video series that'll teach you a deeper level of this or that or whatever it is, or I'll give you access to a strategy session or whatever. I could do 100 different things with that code in that offer. And now I walk away from that talk with more than 50% of that room now on my list, or close to 50%, because 70-80% will say yes and 20% will say no to push notifications. But at least they're now on my list, and I can, or they have my app. So that's how we take that analog, that in-person experience that we're now coming back to, and we bring the digital experience into it. So recognizing my time here, let me kind of tell you a few other things that I want you to know about apps, because I want to make sure I give you the gift at the end here. I want to make sure that you know that not all apps are created equal, because you can actually see inexpensive apps on the internet. So let me pull up this right here on the screen. That you can get. You can go on Instagram and probably scan through Instagram and ultimately come across an ad that says, hey, get this app for $79 a month, or get this app for $79 one-time fee. The problem is that you can build apps or sign up for apps that are template based, and they really don't do much for you. Because there's really 5 types of apps that exist, and there's 2 combinations of these five types that you really want. So let me just give you a quick little education on types of apps out there. First, there are static apps and there are dynamic apps. And the difference between a static app and a dynamic app is that a static app is that you download it off the App Store, you open it up, you get some content, whatever is in there, but that content never changes. It's like a digital brochure or a website that has no ongoing value. It's just information. Here's my business, here's my information, here's some videos or articles or whatever, and it just doesn't change. It's static. A dynamic app is an app that's connected to a database. So a dynamic app can change at any moment. New content can be added to it. So I could literally go back into the back end of that app, add an article, add a video, create a course, hit the submit button, and it instantly becomes available to everybody that has that app. That's what we want, because that gives a reason for people to come back and open your app on an ongoing basis. Okay, so static, no, but there's a lot of cheap apps out there that are static. Dynamic, absolutely, so that your app becomes an ongoing accessible tool for people to use. That then brings us to custom built apps versus template apps versus platform apps. Now, obviously, a custom app would be ideal, because you get to design it and it could do exactly what you want it to do, and you could tell them to do this or that or whatever. But of course, you're running into 2 problems. You're running into the problem of cost, tens of thousands of dollars. And just so you understand, why does it cost so much to develop an app? Because an app is a software program, just like Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel is a software program that runs on PCs and Macs, and apps run on iPhones, like the Mac version, and Android, like the PC version. They're software programs. They're not websites. They're not HTML code. They're actual software that people download and install. So software is actually, not necessarily difficult, although I would say it's difficult because I don't know how to program. But it's time consuming. It's a lot that goes into it. So a custom app that costs tens of thousands of dollars does, because it takes a lot to build that. So it costs a lot of money and it takes a long time. So not ideal. So then you get to template apps. Template apps are the quick, hey, here it is. You have to drag and drop build that app. So, or that page. So, I want to add a new video. So I have to drag and drop here and drag and drop here, and I got to upload here, or I have to link to this web page here or this YouTube page here. And it just lacks functionality. Apple and Android don't like template apps, so they reject them often, which you have to get the approval on Apple and Android before an app can go live on their app stores. And they just don't work very well as far as achieving those 3 goals that I talked about: building your community, getting engagement, and making money. So then that leaves platform apps. Platform apps are apps that are pre-built, ready to go, have all the functionality already in there. There's no drag and drop building them. They're connected to a database, so they're dynamic. And they're designed by people that know how a page should work and how a page will convert and have the elements that really make it effective. So you want a dynamic platform app to be effective, but also to be inexpensive. Then there are individual apps and there are what are called in-network apps. And what that means is that an individual app is just an app that you build, launch, and you're on your own. You're totally on your own. You have to drive the traffic to it. You have to hope that Apple or Android generates traffic to it on the app stores. You're on your own. Whereas an in-network app is an app that's individual in nature, but it's connected into a network, meaning that you're part of a bigger community of people that will have access to your app through some network that they're part of. So this is what we do in Actionera. Actionera is a dynamic platform app that has a network, meaning that anybody that downloads a particular app, when they create an account, a membership access to that particular app, that login to that one app will work with every other Actionera app that's out there. So if I download Monique's app, register for her membership, her free membership, Monique gets me as a client, she gets my name, my email address, and it's all individual to her. But then I go and I see, oh, Kelly also has an app, and I know Kelly has an app because I have a connection to the network that is part of it. I download Kelly's app, and I don't have to register for Kelly. I just have to log in with the same login that I have for Monique, and now I become part of Kelly's network. Okay, so think of it like Gmail or Google, where you can log into different websites and different things out there with your single Gmail login. Same kind of concept, and it works as far as driving more traffic to you. So that's what we've done with Actionera, is that we created a network where you can still operate and you are independent of the network, but you're also plugged into the network for the benefit of traffic and exposure that the network provides. Okay, so yeah, so with that being said, I just wanted to make sure you understood why there are different apps and they do different things here. Now, Monique, we have an hour, is that right? Is that we go to the top of the hour?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Here's what I want to do. We want to give you, so Actionera is, again, a platform app. Now I'm gonna share my phone screen here real quick, just so I can show you on my phone. There we go. Okay, so Actionera is an app that does an unbelievably large amount of things, but it's a platform app. Now, when I say it's a platform app, it means that when someone launches their own app, it's their own branded app in their account on the App Store with their logo, with their brand and all that sort of thing, and it's only their content. Okay, so that's what we call our branded version of the Actionera app. We also have a shared app where a person can download the Actionera app and input an app code. So right now I'm on the Actionera app here, and if I inputted a specific app code, it would transform the Actionera app into my app. So now this app has become the Van Life Living app that has all of the content that's basically related to van life living. So this is an app that I particularly have. So there are different apps that you can create that are branded, that are individual to you, or a shared app, so that you can actually start off with building out an app present and getting people to access all the things that you have to offer before you actually move to an actual branded app. Okay, now I'm telling you that because I'm about to give you a gift that's related to that. our platform is a content delivery platform. So you can deliver any type of content that you want in here: videos, articles, audio, journals, images, you name it. Every type of content can be delivered through the app. It's a membership technology, so you can create, any kind of membership level to this, because the membership is based off of tagging. So I could create a membership access to content like specific topics or specific directories or courses or whatever that are for my mastermind group, for example. Or I can drill it all the way down to, I could create access for Kelly to have access to a particular area. So if I could switch over and I can create a directory here, called my client directory. And under that client directory, I could have Kelly listed here, and she would be the only one that would see this listing. And this is where I could deliver all of my personal content directly to Kelly, because let's say I'm coaching Kelly. So I might come across a video that's relevant to Kelly's business or life or whatever, and I could post it in here and say, Kelly, open up your profile in your app, and I've got something in there just specifically for you. So the membership technology allows you to actually build out, any level of access to content into the app to whoever you want to have that access. It has a directory technology built into it. This is the directory technology of experts that are part of our community, and some, so you can actually create listings for each one of these experts and have, profiles for them set up, and have links to their website where it opens up inside the app, and access to GIFs or videos or articles or whatever. So the directory is very comprehensive, and that sort of thing. Now, it also has, and this is very exciting, because the reason why this is exciting is because this is $1 billion a day. That's $1 billion a day industry. And that is what we call the e-learning industry. The e-learning industry is people accessing online educational content online through computers, through apps, and that sort of thing. So let me just log in here real quick, because I want to show you. So inside of our platform, we have built a learning management system, or what we call the e-course module, so that you can create e-courses that are multi-module. I thought I registered for that. Let's see. That are multi-module courses that that have lessons. And in the lessons, you can build out the lessons however you want. I was actually going to show you one here, but apparently I've been unregistered from it. Where you can have lessons, you can have journal questions, you can have audio. You can basically build a full-on deep courses into your content. So think of it. Have any of you heard of like Thinkific or Udemy or any of those platforms? That's essentially what you get, your own learning management system built into the app, so you can build courses. It's also a summit platform. So if you do a virtual summit, you can actually market and deliver your entire virtual summit in here. So you could live stream using Zoom. So I could take this Zoom call right now, embed it in my app, and people can watch us live in the app without having to log on to Zoom. So I can do a live streaming of my summit, and then each one of my summit speakers would have their own area set up, and then I could have a free ticket or a VIP ticket and give out gifts from each one of the experts and that sort of thing. It's designed to actually deliver a summit very effectively and very efficiently inside your app, so that once that summit is done, rather than sitting in your computer, you can now evergreen that summit and offer it ongoing just for people to be able to access. You can also do virtual events or webinars inside of the app, where people can sign up for a webinar and get speaker details or event details of what's happening during that day, and access to resources for that particular event. So it does that. We also have a new feature here called Action List. And Action List is you be able to create checklists. Let me actually log in here real quick so I can show you. You can create checklists that have content that are connected to each one of the actual items on that list. And you can give your users the ability to be able to create their own checklists. And by doing that, oh boy, I know what I'm doing. Give me 1 second. By doing that, you're actually making your app what's called sticky. It means that you're giving them a tool that brings them back to your app multiple times a day to basically see what you've got going on here. So let's see if I can get this. There we go. So this is what an actual action list looks like. So if they're subscribed to that list, then they'll like, this is a daily, 5 daily actions to transform my life. So if I do my morning journal, great. If I want a video that talks about doing a morning journal, then they can watch that video. If I want to do a morning meditation, great. Well, they can listen to that audio meditation each day. But each day that they do this, it'll actually archive the previous days and the things that they've done and the answers to the journal questions that they put in here. And you give them a daily tool that they can use. But they can also come in here and create their own to-do list. So it could be a once list, a daily list, a weekly list, a custom list where this list refreshes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The idea here is that you're giving them your app as a tool, a daily tool that they can go to. And every time they open the app, they're exposed to your message. So we actually have a method to our madness here. So I could go on literally for hours sharing all the things that the platform does. And Miles, I'll definitely take your question here in a second. But the best way that I can really give you the experience of Actionera is to give you a free account that you can use to build, to set up your app, have it in the shared app, so you'll get an actual app code, and really give you an opportunity to really play around with this. But on top of that, to also have a one-on-one conversation with you to talk about, how this app can be specifically used in your business with your message, so it accomplishes those 3 goals that we talked about. So I'm going to give you guys that way for you to do that here shortly. So, but let me just take some questions. Miles, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you. That's interesting. I was really interested about recording courses, because mine's set around. I don't know if you've heard of the Flip Classroom. Have you heard of that?
Say what's the name of it again?
Classroom model.
Classroom model. Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite big in America. It's come over a bit, but we've all had to adjust to it with this COVID. So my network model is about the art studios and the having something like the Flip Classroom, but with network courses. So you just have each artist will do an introduction. And the idea would be to record that, and they can put it up on their website, so they can then turn that into a longer course for people to do it online. So it works as a flip class as well as a network class. A network class model works like you've got 5 artists doing different things, and you go from one studio to the next studio doing this.
I love that
course, and you can access it on they upload their stuff onto short bits onto a website. Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible 100%. Because of the fact that Actionera is a networked community. And so, just to give you kind of a better understanding of that, let me share what I was showing you just a moment ago. I was showing you the actual app itself on a phone, but keep in mind that not everybody really wants to take a full course on their phone, right? The little tiny device or a tablet. So what we did is we took Actionera and we mirrored what the app does into an actual website. So we have Actionera app and we have Actionera website. And so if I log into my central account that I have on the app, the same login, I can actually access the network of other sites that I'm a part of. So if I go to my account here, I can come down here and I have these list of link sites that I'm also a part of. And if I go from, let's say, this site to this site, I'm I stay logged in and now I'm all over here interacting on this particular site. So that could be the same thing with your particular artist. Artist that's part of this kind of network that's connected, they're connected to each other. One login will give them access to all the stuff that you guys, they all got going on. But this is an example of what I was showing you on the actual app is also, this is the website version of it. So like, again, the directory, this is the directory of business experts, and this is how it shows up in the web format. So what we're going to give you is that we're going to give you a free 30 days for you to build an app, build a website, use that, jump on a call with our team to talk about how you can leverage this and use this. Does this make sense? How much money is this going to save you every month? Because what we've done with Actionera is that we consolidated what we call technology fragmentation. How many of you got, like, I've got one technology over here that does this, and another one that does this, and another one that does this, and before you know it, you're spending $300 or $400 or $500 a month and sending your clients all over the internet to experience your business. What we've done is we put it all in one place, and you save that. You can save, in a lot of cases, hundreds of dollars every single month by not having all those technologies. So here's what I like to do, because I'm out of time and I definitely want to respect the time that I've been given here, is I want to give you guys a link, and I'm going to put it in the chat.
Robert, that's the link you shared with me earlier, right? I can put it for you as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's that link that I shared earlier. This is a link where if you go and you sign up, it will give you 30-day access with all of the bells and whistles of our platform turned on for you. Okay. And it will give you the ability to be able to build out an app and be able to build out a website. And then once you do this, I'm going to reach out to you, or one of my team members are going to reach out to you, and we're going to set up a call to see how you can best use our platform. And if you feel like this works for you, then we're going to give you an amazing deal that we agreed with Monique to give. Monique specifically asked us, can you give my community a really good deal on this? And we said, sure. And would this be good enough? And she says, that would be great. We'll give you a deal, but we want to have you kicking the tires first. And we want you to understand how Actionera can specifically support you in your specific business. That's why I want you to sign up, get free access for the first 30 days, get on a call with us. And if it makes sense, then everybody's going to be happy. So, if you can do all of that there. Now, not only will that, but we'll also give you access to a course that we're about to launch that will teach you a lot more that I wasn't able to teach you here on this call, of why apps, why now, and how you can launch an app without it costing you an insane amount of money. So that's something that hopefully you guys will be inspired to take us up on. Do I have time for questions, Monique?
Yeah, of course. If Miles or Kelly still have a question.
Miles or Kelly, do you have any questions?
I have, but probably have to wait for later.
Okay. Well, again, that's what that strategy session would be about, is, I find out a lot more about what you guys are doing, and most likely I'll be doing those calls with you. And then we come up with an actual real strategy.
I can say I have a couple of speaker friends that are on Actionera, right, Robert? And they're really, they said, oh my God, I never thought it was so easy and straightforward to build an app like that. And, it's really amazing also how the different experts can support each other and, build a network together, which is very, very powerful, right? So, yeah. Great. So thank you very much for being on with us today. Kelly, I don't know, Kelly or Miles, do you burn to still ask something now?
I found this really, really interesting, and appreciate your offer of a trial. I like the concept of kick the tires. I'm that kind of person. You have to kind of play around with the
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
So March will probably be my month to kick the tires. And just I'm really glad to meet you. Glad to have this information, and thank you for the offer, which I will, I'm sure we'll be talking in the next 30 days. So thank
That
you
sounds
for
good.
your time.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you being here and being a part of this.
And great, great to have you both. And we had a few people come in and out as well as we went, but we changed the timing of this session. Normally we have them at lunchtime, but we didn't want to have Robert get up in the middle of the night. So of course, we're this very generous offer with all our.
Well, as you can,
right?
as you can see, the sun is rising here, right? Yeah.
It is. Thank you so much, Robert, for being on with us today and sharing your insights. And I feel that, Actionera is definitely a solution for a lot of speakers and experts and change makers to really, package their knowledge and wisdom in a simple app. I think that honestly, I'm waiting for the moment when no one has computers anymore and everyone is just having a phone or something similar, right? I mean, that's the prediction. For a lot of people, and the massive, as you showed us as well, like a lot of people that we wouldn't reach any other way, you reach them on phone, right? Time we spend on the phone compared to on a computer is massive, and it's been a prediction for a long time, and it's good that you're pioneering, helping people to really make it easy and simple and affordable and straightforward to get their message out there now. So there's no excuse anymore for speakers and experts to reach a much bigger number of people, engage them. And also, a nice side effect is to connect with other speakers and experts to get their word out together. So thank you so much for being on with us today. And as I said, we're going to share it with our whole global community of speakers and experts. You better check it out, arrange a call with Robert or one of his teams. Robert, you want to say something at the end to round off our conversation?
No, I thank you, Monique. I appreciate the opportunity to share and with your community. And you guys have an amazing day today or night or whatever it is over there where you're at.
Normally we have people from around the globe, and then it's any kind of time zone you can think of. So okay, but thanks for being on, Robert. Thanks for being on, Kelly, Miles, and everyone else that was hopping in today. And as I always say, keep creating your magic and use tools like Actionera and use Actionera to really check it out. Don't miss this opportunity. It's so straightforward, easy. Give it a go, have a look, speak to Robert or his team, and
I just put my email in the chat, robert@actionera.com. Miles, did you have a question?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. See, Miles, you and I, buddy, we're connected here. robert@actionera.com for those that are listening. Feel free to reach out to me and connect.
And also, as you can see, Robert sometimes answers questions before we even know we have them. So powerful. Okay, thank you all.
There's an app for that.
Speak up, scale up, impact the world in your own powerful way, and we'll have you back on another session next month. In the meantime, just have an amazing time. Cheers.
Thank you.